Welcome to the United States of Small Business, a podcast where the essence of American entrepreneurship is celebrated in every episode. With host John Quick at the helm, join us as we embark on a journey through the heart of the nation, uncovering the inspiring stories of small business owners from coast to coast. Experience the vibrant energy of bustling cities and the serene beauty of small towns, all while discovering how individuals are turning their entrepreneurial dreams into reality, even against the greatest odds. Each episode brings you face to face with the dreamers, creators, and doers who form the economic backbone of our country, all sharing their spirit of innovation and resilience. Whether you are in the early stages of sowing the seeds for your own business, scaling new heights in your current venture, or simply captivated by tales of grit and triumph, you are in the right place. Tune in on platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and beyond. For deeper insights and to connect with the heart and soul of America's main streets, visit UnitedStatesOfSmallBusiness.com. Subscribe to United States of Small Business with host John Quick now and be inspired by the powerful stories of entrepreneurship, community, and the unwavering pursuit of the American dream. Begin your journey of inspiration with us today.
Welcome to another episode of the United States of Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, John Quick, and today we have an inspiring guest, Brandon Neely. Brandon is a serial entrepreneur, profit first and bank on yourself professional, and the co-host of Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast with his wife, Amanda. Together, they transformed their financial struggles into stability and success after running a coffee shop in Chicago's South Loop. Now they share their knowledge to help business owners implement smart financial strategies and achieve profitability. Join us as Brandon discusses his journey and importance of putting profit first and how you can build a secure financial future for your business. Stay tuned for an episode filled with invaluable insights and practical advice. So without further ado, Brandon, welcome to the United States of Small Business Podcast.
Awesome. Thanks, John. I'm excited to be here, especially talking about small business, specifically in the U.S.
Well, that's awesome. This will be fun to hear a little bit about your story and hear a little bit more about what you do today. But first, take us back to what it was like opening one of your first businesses. I heard it was a coffee shop in the heart of Chicago. Tell me all about that.
Yeah. So the former business name was Overflow. Still lit around today because we've sold it and someone else is doing amazing work with it. But what we learned is this idea of community building. We really wanted to create a place like Cheers, except without the alcohol. And we also learned a lot about ethical economics, right? Buying good coffee. People are making it, and oftentimes we are buying it on the cheap, making a lot of money. But we were like, wait, somebody needs to make a change about this. This slavery in the coffee world is not cool. Somebody needs to do something. So we found out that the direct trade movement and all that, and so we combined community building, local, and ethical economics, and we were like, oh, this is it. And the Overflow was formed out of that.
That's pretty cool. Tell me one of your biggest lessons outside of that, just from running a brick and mortar coffee shop.
Yeah. So one of the things I learned, three things I would tell every business owner is because I went through a lot, and I know this is a very shorter podcast. I could go on forever about this, but a couple of things I say is know that you know that you know that you're called to something, right? Because it's going to be hard. Especially if you're stepping into your own business. Running a business is not for the faint of heart. So you need to know that you're called to it because it will get hard. Probably the second, third year into it, you're going to be like, what the heck did I do? Right. That leads into my number two, which is have a team around you that care about you, not just what you produce. Whenever we had our coffee shop, the second year into the business, we had all kinds of things that happened to us, right? From a miscarriage to grandma dying to her cat dying, all kinds of things. And the customers just want to hear, how's it going? They want to hear, great, now give me my coffee, right? They don't want to hear, yeah, life sucks right now. So having a team around you that care about you, your marriage, your other areas of life is really, really important. And then the third is know your numbers. Too many business owners have no idea about their numbers. So knowing your numbers is key, and actually knowing how to read a P&L statement, those kind of things, really, really important.
Yeah, they are. So you now have a business called the Wealth Wisdom Financial Partners. We talked a little bit about before we jumped on here, infinite banking. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about what Wealth Wisdom Financial Partners does. And for folks that don't know, tell us all about infinite banking.
Yeah. Yeah, so a couple things. When we were ending the coffee shop experience, I had a child, and we're having a child. Well, we had learned that a lot of things we thought we knew. We read all the Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman books. We were doing all the right things. However, we learned about this. This is a documentary called Banking with Life. And this was, and again, going back to the Wayback Machine a little bit, saying, oh, well, everything we knew about money is really, was not as it seems. We're on the banking business, right? And so we started our first policies not knowing we would be in this industry, and that access to capital in those policies helped us to be able to overcome a flood in the business. Literally, a roof was off and it flooded, and that was because of that access to capital. We were able to sell that business and not close it. Then that led us into what we do now with Wealth Wisdom Financial, was saying, oh, most business owners don't understand profit. So that profit first model is super, super important, and they don't understand cash flow, right? And so infinite banking, this concept, which this is where people are like, yes, but it's wrong, and you're this or that. There's a lot of miscommunication. Dave Ramsey loves to hate on me on this kind of stuff. But really what it is it's putting, I am the greatest asset. As a business owner, you are your greatest asset, not your machines or any of that. I want to protect the greatest asset, me and my wife, right? And so we put that in through a what we call a whole life insurance policy that's high cash value, and we're able to have that cash value that we can use. Excuse me, that high cash value that we can use as like almost like a line of credit, right? So if you have a house, you can borrow against your house. People say, oh, that's cool. That's a home equity line of credit. Whereas this is, you are the home equity line of credit. And in essence, you're just using you're able to take a loan to do other things. Does that make sense?
Yep. You become the bank in a lot of ways, that regard, right?
Yeah. And you can choose, like, no one's going to qualify you to say, oh, well, do you have a job? All of these other things. Whenever I tried to buy my first house, I actually couldn't get a mortgage because I sold the business. And because I sold the business and I was starting a new business, well, I didn't have income from the new business. So it was really hard to get a loan for my house.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you can take a loan as long as you're funding it. You can use it for anything, whatever you want.
So that's very interesting. I think it's a unique method, and obviously, you know, it's funny that you mentioned you and Dave Ramsey fight about that method, but I think there's something to be said about not utilizing traditional methods like banking. I've never been a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you also have a practice called the still method. Tell me about what that is, and for folks that have never heard of it, unpack that a little bit.
Yeah. So excuse me real quick. I'm going to pause for a second. Sorry, it's been a little cough today.
Yeah, to get that cough out.
Yeah, so part of as I've been doing the financial thing and realizing that a lot of people don't know what they think they know, or they just listen to the Dave Ramseys or the whatever. Why we created this method was saying, hey, maybe a life insurance policy fits. Maybe not. I've used my life insurance policy to buy my office, offset taxes, do all kinds of fun things. But in the end, here's the thing that's really important. that most people don't know. Whether it's a tool of infinite banking or profit first, doesn't matter. What we thought about was, okay, there's this chaos in the world, and we have these acronyms for it to make us remember. It's confusion, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful. Do you remember 4 years ago, there's a thing called COVID that happened? Um, right? And there was so much chaos, so much confusion. Everything was just crazy, right? That's what we all felt. We felt a lot of chaos and unease, right? So this is most people's lives, actually, and businesses, right? And I'm like, all right, and sometimes we like chaos, or we say we like it, but we don't. Well, we need to move from chaos to what I call the still method. And it came from actually from the Bible. Be still and know. Um, right, those kind of things were in our heads. And so we have the chaos, confusion, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful, to still. And the funny part on the S is set your sights, right? You know how many people I talk to over and over again? I'm asking, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in life? And they have no idea. I'm going to go to Disney World with my kids. I don't know, something. They've never actually talked about that with their spouse or themselves for that matter. And so you have to know where you want to go, kind of have a trajectory. So set your sights. Then you have to track your in and out. Are you doing the things that you want to reach that goal? Right? If you're not doing the one, set your sights, and movement tracking, then you're not going to get there, more than likely. Then you have to inspect your progress. Sometimes it's you're going in that direction and you realize you're off by a little bit. So set your sights, track, inspect your progress, look for 1% adjustments, because we don't just happen quickly, and then live deliberately. So that's in our Five Smooth Stones book. That's there, Five Smooth Stones. It's an interactive journal that we created just to help people think. It's not about a tactic of which policy to do or put it into a 401k or not. It's asking the questions and then you implement the tools.
That's awesome. Well, folks listening in, there is a Five Smooth Stones. It's a financial centering journal. For the first person to email me, John, John, at UnitedStatesOfSmallBusiness.com, I'm going to send them a free copy of that. So email me. I'm going to get lots of emails on it, but the first person to email me is going to get it. John, John, at UnitedStatesOfSmallBusiness.com, and I'll send them a free copy. Brandon, tell me a little bit about how somebody would interact with you, meaning there's going to be folks out here listening that are going to want to hear more, and you help folks kind of through this and learn some of this. What's that interaction like? How can somebody kind of get involved with what you're doing?
Yeah, well, one is we have a podcast, ourself, Wealth Wisdom Financial. A lot of thinking. It's more of a looking at history, and some of the things we think we know that just ain't so, as Mark Twain likes to say, or liked to say. And that's one, is listen to our podcast, YouTube again, or go to our website, wealthwisdomfp.com, and schedule a discovery call with one of us. We will give you, as we think about this, I'm not going to be the guy that just says, do it, I'll do it all for you. I want you to be in the driver's seat as we build a plan or a strategy. I like to educate my clients so that way they are, it's their life, right? And so we want to be able to have the tools, like knowing how to operate the vehicle is really important. I might be really good at this infinite banking thing, but I want my clients to be able to say, hey, what are the levers? How can I do this a little bit? And it really help them. I'm a heart surgeon in that regard. So, but you have to know, hey, something's not right. I want to move in that better direction. And that's why the tools are there.
Nice. Well, we'll put all those links in the podcast description for folks curious. Not only the links to your podcast, Brandon, but to the Five Smooth Stones journal and your website as well. 15 minutes here has gone by in a flash. Brandon, do you have any last minutes here before we head off? The floor is yours.
Oh man, we could have gone forever. I feel like I just said whole lot, and some people are like, oh yeah, well, he didn't say this or that. I'm like, well, because we only got a few minutes. So if you guys want to learn more about what we do, or just have an ally on your team, like that's really, I like to think of us as the safe money, building the foundational assets, so that way you can grow your business to thrive. But if you have a good foundation in place, you're going to go really far. Most people haven't thought about it, and they've built a upside down pyramid when it comes to their finances and their business. And so we want to help build a good, stable foundation so you can take advantage of both the highs and lows of whatever's happening in the world, because it's a crazy world out there right now.
Yeah, it is. Well, Brandon, we wish you nothing but success here from the United States of Small Business podcast. Folks, again, listening in, if you just caught the tail end, I want to encourage you to go back and listen to the whole thing. Brandon here from Wealth Wisdom Financial shares some tidbits of information that I really think will benefit you along your journey, not only in life, but in business. Yeah, Brandon, thanks so much for joining us. We hope everybody has a phenomenal rest of their week. And until next time, I'm John Quick from the United States a Small Business Podcast. Thanks, Brandon.
Well, thanks.